Stats for the Arizona Cardinals in 2025 will lie to you. What do I mean? Let's discuss.
You are Locked On Cardinals, your daily Arizona Cardinals podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Locked On Cardinals, Alex Clancy here. Follow me on Twitter, Clancy's Corner. Follow the podcast at Locked On AZ Cards. Thank you for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen free wherever you get your podcast and on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Please go to the YouTube channel. Search Locked On Arizona Cardinals. Hit that subscribe button, man. Officially 100 subscribers away from 4,000. Thank you to the 3,900 of you. Would love to get to 4K before week one, and hopefully before that. Leave a like on the video. Comment. You know, I'm always love interacting with people. Going into my 9th season here hosting this lovely podcast. And yeah, man, it's going to be good. So tomorrow on the agenda, I'll do a segment on the Cardinals being one of the 22 teams voting to ban the tush push. I'll talk about that tomorrow. Talk a little bit about Marvin Harrison Jr. putting on weight and how it's a non-issue. Sorry, spoiler alert. And then kind of a mystery segment, the third segment that I haven't really come up with yet. But I will talk about the tush push thing. I don't think it's a huge deal. I don't think it's worth more than 10 minutes or so, 8 minutes. But I wanted to do something different today. I like to challenge just boring, lazy thought. And with all of the positivity going forward with this team, momentum, roster-wise, the team's setting up for 10 weeks of winnable games, by and large, to start the season, what we know with the schedule. I just have a feeling it's not going to look in the stat sheet the way people think it will look on the offensive side of the ball, even though the offense is set to be better more frequently than the low points of last year. Let me explain what I mean. So, I'm going to rip through Marvin Harrison Jr. this segment, Trey McBride in the second segment, and James Conner in the third. It's like James Conner has been Old Faithful since he got here. Trey McBride really popped last year, but the year before with Josh Dobbs and then Kyler Murray, we saw what was coming. And then Marv was a rookie. So I want to go the opposite of start to back. You could do chronologically backwards, right? This is like my Dr. Seuss moment from yesterday. Well, doesn't matter. So I don't think that even though the Cardinals offense is going to be much better this year, more efficient, more trustworthy, less peaks and valleys, I'm sure of it, the number allocations are going to be different than what people think. So let's start with Marv. Last year, for those that forget, he had 62 receptions on 885 receiving yards, 8 touchdowns, 116 targets. And that was in, let's just say, 16 games, because he went out very early in the Green Bay game. Luckily avoided any sort of serious concussion situations, but he went out very early in that game. So these numbers are fine. They're fine. And toot, I said this was going to happen. That's me tooting my own horn. Not any sort of nefarious, bodily anything. That's, I said this was going to happen. It's the third option of a run first offense with an all-world tight end. So I'm not surprised this was going to happen. Could he have had 11 or 1,200 receiving yards last year? Yeah, definitely. So on Kyler Murray and him to get better? Yes. Individually and as a unit? Yes. But this isn't like the oh no moments that you want to avoid for a rookie. I implore people to not look at where the person was drafted. They took best player available. It happened to be Marvin Harrison Jr. If Marvin Harrison Jr. was, mocked to go like 9th or 10th, and he didn't have the potential trajectory to be great, they wouldn't have taken him at 4. So it's a give and take kind of thing. But this offense needs to catch up to him while he continues to get better. So what I see, why the numbers are going to lie to you in 2025 is he's not going to be, 110-yard reception, 1,700-yard receiving, 15 touchdown guy. Like, very few people who have ever walked on this planet were like that. Like, what I expect from Marvin Harrison Jr. next year, the receptions will go up. Okay, the receptions will go up. The receiving yards, he'll eclipse 1,000 yards. He may be, 85 for 1,100. But what I expect to go up a little bit, but not incredibly, are the touchdowns. Like, what I expect from Marvin Harrison Jr. next year, what I predict is like 85 receptions for 1,100 or 1,200 yards and 10 touchdowns. Like, we're not looking at 1,700 receiving yards. I just don't see it. It's not in the offense, and it doesn't need to be. That's where the lie comes in. That's where the stats are lying to you, because that's going to look like an average season or above average. It's going to look like a fringe Pro Bowl season. 80 reception yards a game, 0.75 touchdowns, and a handful of receptions. Like, maybe 1,200 is too low, but what I think, a jump from, just like the Cardinals' record, a jump from under 900 yards to 1,200 yards back-to-back years, that's a win. That's 33% increase. Has a couple more touchdowns. Has a boatload more receptions. That's a win. It's a move up. And sure, this goes in line with me thinking that the other receivers are going to get more involved. I don't throw Xavier Weaver in there nearly as much as I should. Go watch, just YouTube. Do the lazy version like I do a lot. Go watch clips from him at Boulder in Colorado. He was a number 2 receiver. I think Jimmy Horn Jr. got hurt, or he got hurt, whatever. There were 3 of them with Travis Hunter, obviously. But just go watch. The dude can spread the field. He's fast. He catches everything. He's good against the sideline. He's a good receiver. You got Greg Dortch. You've got Michael Wilson. I think it's going to be spread out a lot more, with Marvin Harrison Jr. still being the apex predator, still being the wide receiver 1, under the guise that Trey McBride is the most important pass catcher the Arizona Cardinals have. I don't give a rip where they were drafted. Who cares? Who cares? Now, could I be totally wrong with that? I mean, it'd be the first time, Be the first time I'm wrong. This is what I'm hedging against. And why I think that this is where the numbers will lie regarding the impact that he makes on the team. I see a world where no numbers will be good enough for people regarding Marvin Harrison Jr. Only on 1,300 receiving yards and 10 touchdowns. They drafted him 4th overall. It should be better. Not if they're winning games. He went from 68 receptions and 900 yards to 85 receptions and 1,200 yards and add a couple touchdowns to the 8 that he had last year. Get it to 10 or 11. Those numbers will lie to you, telling you it's not a great year. It'd be anything but that, especially if that's exactly what the Cardinals need him to do in 2025. Locked on Cardinals, your team every day. Trey McBride, next. Why his numbers will lie to you. A little bit different, a little bit the same. We'll discuss it next. This episode of Locked on Cardinals is brought to you by our friends at LinkedIn. As a small business owner, your work doesn't end when the clock hits 5. Your business is always on your mind, which means when it's time to hire, you need a partner that works just as hard as you do, and that's where LinkedIn Jobs comes in. When you clock out, LinkedIn clocks in. LinkedIn makes it easy to post your job for free, share it with your network, and get qualified candidates all in one place. Here's how it works. It's the post your job feature. It's new, and it can help you write job descriptions and then quickly get your job in front of the right people with deep candidate insights. And there's a pro tip. Add the hashtag hiring frame to your profile picture to double your reach to qualified candidates. No wonder 72% of small businesses say LinkedIn helps them find high-quality hires. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/LockedOnNFL. That's linkedin.com/LockedOnNFL to post your job for free. Terms, conditions apply. Please go to the YouTube channel, man. Search Locked On Arizona Cardinals. Hit that subscribe button. I promise we'll talk about the tush-push stuff tomorrow. I don't think it's that big of a thing, but it does need to be mentioned, and I'll do the first segment on it tomorrow. I promise. Trey McBride, his numbers are going to lie to you. Trey McBride had speak. 111 receptions, 1,146 receiving yards, 2 touchdowns, and 147 targets. So he had 8 targets a game, ballpark. I'm doing mental math. The 2 touchdowns on top of the one that he fell on, like he belly flopped onto one, for those to forget. I think he had a rushing touchdown as well. But like, I wouldn't be surprised if these receptions dropped by 15. I wouldn't be surprised if the yardage stayed the same. And I would be surprised if he didn't have 10 touchdowns next year. But when you look at it, you're like, well, Travis Kelce had 1,500. Wait, George Kittle. Wait, Sam Laporta. Who cares? Who cares? Oh, he just got paid all this money, so now his numbers are going to drop. Typical. No. You want less receptions, more yards. The dink and dunk days need to be done. That's alliteration. They need to be done. The ball needs to be spread out more. Like, this is what would hope to be, and otherwise we're having a different conversation about offensive coordinator and potentially quarterback, is you got to do more with less. There's got to be more 7-8 yard completions as opposed to 3 and 4 yard completions. And a lot of Trey McBride's stuff was around the line of scrimmage, go. 5-yard crossing routes for a first down, fine. But it's like, Trey McBride doesn't have to have 1,600 receiving yards and 15 touchdowns for him to be worth the 10 plus, $12 million a year guaranteed that he's getting over the course of his contract. Like, 111 receptions is a lot. That's a lot. 1,100 receiving yards, fine. 2 touchdowns, abysmal, obviously. 147 targets. Like, the numbers are going to lie to you because I think they're going to dip or stay the same. Receptions dip, yardage stays around the same, touchdowns got to go up. But if you look at a guy that just signed a multi-year contract, get $40+ million guaranteed, and he has 80 receptions or 85 receptions for 1,100 yards and 9 touchdowns, it's like, wait, that's not worth it. According to who? According to who? The numbers are going to lie to you. This is going to be a team effort. If things go the way that I think they should and will, in at least some capacity, the numbers are going to lie to you. Trey McBride is going to be a little bit different because he's still the anchor of the offense, passing game. Unless something incredible happens, which, again, fantastic problem to have. Incredible problem to have. One of the best problems to have for an NFL team, especially one who is looked at as, their tight end being their best, pass catcher. The best weapon in the pass game is Marvin Harrison Jr. ripping it from his hands. And if that's the case, I can urinate on this entire show. This one. Not the entire pod. Come on, for the haters. But this entire 26 minutes that I spend with you, I can urinate all over it, proverbially. Because if that's the case, then Marv goes for 1,500 plus yards, 10 plus touchdowns. Like, it needs to be a violent takeover from Marv to supplant Trey McBride as the alpha, as like the true bona fide one. They're 1A and like 1D right now. They're both kind of there. But Marv is still by far the second option, by far, in the pass game, which would make him the third option on offense. But don't feel slighted if he has less receptions, around the same amount of yards, and more touchdowns. This is an illusion. This is alluding to what I'm going to discuss next as well. This is the most obvious one, the final one. But if you tell me that Marv and Trey McBride had combined last year's numbers, like Marv has more receptions, a little bit more yards, Trey McBride has about the same amount of yards, and the touchdowns, they average together, maybe add a couple, where they have 20 touchdowns combined, but the yards are close and the receptions are close from what they were last year. What's the most important thing? Getting in the end zone. And that is something that you can't fake. That's something you can't mask. Regardless of what I say about Michael Wilson and Greg Dortch, they're not going to score 10 touchdowns, either of them, or combined. So that's where your big dogs need to eat in pay dirt. Don't feel lied to just by looking at the numbers, especially if the offense unlocked that final boss to be able to utilize the offense and the playbook to its utmost potential instead of what's probably 65%, which is what we've seen so far. James Conner, his numbers will lie to you in 2025. I'll discuss next. Please go to YouTube channel, search Locked On Arizona Cardinals, hit that subscribe button. Cardinals. I don't know why I added an extra syllable there. Tell your friends. Go, subscribe wherever you get your podcast if you want to just listen and not just, subject yourself to what you're looking at right now. James Conner's numbers will lie to you. James Conner's numbers will lie to you in 2025. 2024, 236 carries, 1,094 yards, 8 touchdowns, 47 receptions, 414 yards, and another touchdown in 16 games. This is where, even though he got his extension, you see a downturn in his usage. For comparison, Trey Benson, 63 carries, 291 yards, and a touchdown on 4.6 yards per carry. So they had 300 carries combined. Almost exactly, 299 carries combined. And James Conner took 70% of them. 70. So when I said 70-30, that was about right yesterday. It's got to drop to 60-40. It's got to drop to 57-43. If Trey Benson can be 80% of what James Conner has been, it's time. You're not just thinking about this year. You're thinking about next year. You're thinking about the year after that. And I know the Cardinals need to win this year. And I also know the Cardinals need to win next year. So when you look at this, my elixir, my suggestion, let Trey Benson eat between the 20s. And this is not, you get James Conner going early. I think maybe you give Trey, and I did say this last year as the Cardinals were coming down the stretch, get Trey Benson some first quarter touches, man. Why are we waiting until the middle of the second quarter to get the guy rolling? Why are we waiting? Why are we having to wait to watch the Cardinals do that? You drafted him in the third round for a reason. Show it. One of the biggest shortcomings for the Arizona Cardinals organization ever since signing James Conner was relying too much on James Conner. It was the only thing that was sure to work. Cliff Kingsbury used him as a crutch when the pass game wasn't going. Jonathan Gannon, Drew Petzing used him as a crutch when Josh Dobbs was the quarterback. They used him as a crutch last year when nothing was going on. Stop it. If you're going to do that, use them both. The numbers will lie to you for James Conner because his carries will go down. He probably won't have 1,000 yards rushing next year. And I think his touchdowns will definitely go up. It's that model. Let the young kids get you there. Let the guys who you trust to get in the end zone do the work down the stretch, inside the 20, inside the 10, inside the 5. It's a recipe for success. It's the LeGarrette Blount role. And James Conner's way more, multi-talented, multifaceted. He can catch the ball in the backfield. LeGarrette Blount was never that guy. LeGarrette Blount was more of a power rusher than James Conner is, but it's not by much. I'm picking my spots with James Conner and Trey Benson much more than last year and the year before that. And it's not going to be difficult because they never did it. Be more particular with how you utilize him. Don't worry about getting him the touches. Getting him the right touches is where it is. Using Trey Benson in the pass game more. will alleviate some stressors from James Conner where he doesn't have to have, over what he had almost 320 touches last year. Nope, that's not true. That's an absolute lie. He had 280 touches last year. Cut that down to 240. If it works, why the hell not? I leave you with this. The numbers will lie to you in 2025 for Marvin Harrison Jr., Trey McBride, and James Conner. They're going to show that they're less impactful than they actually are, because this is going to be so much more of a team offensive game for the Cardinals than we've seen in a long time. It doesn't matter if Marv doesn't have 100 catches. It doesn't matter if Trey McBride doesn't have 100 catches. It doesn't matter if James Conner eclipses 1,000 yards on the ground. What matters is getting your best players in the best situation to succeed, scoring more touchdowns than last year, namely Trey McBride, but also Marvin Harrison Jr. He should have 10 or 12 this year. James Conner, there's no world where he should only have 8 rushing touchdowns in this offense. That's coaching. It's play calling. It's Kyler Murray making the right decision. And the reason why these numbers are going to dip is because you're going to see a lot more players get involved much more often than last year, namely Michael Wilson, Greg Dortch, Trey Benson. And you know what that is? It's a recipe for success. Locked On Cardinals, your team every day. Remember, without you, there is no me. I'll talk to you tomorrow.